If you're looking at this and thinking, boy, the Evo II has aged well, well, yes, it has, but that's not this car. That's this car. This is something altogether more up to date than that. Not a Restomod, something far more in depth, which means I'm going to need a hand talking you round this one. This is Gordian von Schoening, Chief Technology Officer at HWA and a man with an intimate knowledge of this new Evo. Okay, Gordy, this is an amazing looking car, but what's the idea here? What are you trying to achieve with this?
I mean, we wanted to showcase our capabilities and what we are good at. And as you know, we've been racing 25 years and we also did road car projects for Mercedes and other brands.
So what have you done? I mean, there's so much. When you start looking at the detail of it, everything looks different.
That's correct. So actually the car looks a bit like the Evo, but everything is new. So everything you see on the bodywork is going to be carbon as structural elements. We're going to reuse some of the greenhouse and some of the chassis of the original
Okay, so
car.
what did get carried over? The glass carried over?
The glass, but we already changed the glass slightly because we don't have it in the rubber sealing because it's then flexible, and if we glue it in, we get more structure. So
okay,
the shape of the glass is correct. It's
so
carried
chassis
over.
carried over, glass carried over-ish.
Ish.
Anything else?
The wiper arm. This is something we're going to reuse because it's very special and it has this significant way of cleaning.
But apart from that, everything else is new on this car?
Correct.
Wow, okay. So for instance, one thing I noticed, the arches look wider, so you've broadened the car more.
Yeah, the track width definitely, as you see, but also the stance and the position of the axles, let's say. So we are moving the front axle 50 mils more forward. So we removed the engine out of the original position. I mean, there is another engine. It's a 6-cylinder, it's not a 4-cylinder, and it's a V6. So this engine has never been in the car. Due to having a better weight distribution, we moved the engine and the axle.
It's so in depth, isn't it? Because you've got more width here in the body I've seen than you have in the old car. So everything just looks more pumped and aggressive than it did before.
Yeah, that's correct. We really scaled all the components and yeah, as I said, each and every surface around the car was modified.
Yeah. So you need what, an original 190e to start with?
Yeah, we don't need an Evo because they're very rare. It's just 502 cars all over. And no, we're gonna start with a normal 190.
Yeah.
And we're gonna remove every components. We dip it in acid and get rid of coatings and colors.
We can go and have a look at that, can't we?
Yes.
Here is a very bare naked, but not quite finished 190e chassis, because you strip everything off, but then this obviously isn't quite ready. We've got rust holes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are more than 30 years old or even older. And what we have here is, this is a car we just stripped down and now we're doing the process. Like, first of all, getting rid of all the coats and colors, dipping in acid, and then we're gonna start rebuilding the chassis.
Right.
So the most important thing is the front end. The front end is, I mean, the whole car was designed on 2D, like on a paper, you know, it's not in the CAD. There is no actually computer design helped during the construction. So yeah, there's a lot to do. So we scanned those cars and we remodeled the original chassis into the CAD data. And we also figured out what's underneath all the A-pillars and the structure.
Yeah.
We started.
Do you carry over? You do entirely new subframes, front and rear, don't you?
Yes.
So do you just have to chop this front end off? What do you do?
We're gonna chop the whole front end and replace it by a complete new aluminium front end, which actually absorbs a lot of energy, and this one is not really good at this.
So you're going to have much superior crash safety to the old one as well.
Complete different world.
HWA ran crash test simulations of an original 190e chassis and didn't like what it saw. The new section is much stronger, fully deformable, and there's extra strengthening around the central chassis as well. But beyond that, name me another Restomod that's undergone full crash test simulations.
Due to the fact that we have a complete new front end, we are also then free with the suspension. And now we have a double wishbone system and we could change the kinematic quite a lot.
Yeah.
And due to the fact that the overall target is to have good weight distribution and low center of gravity, we really can adapt this to what we know is good for being in a performance car.
So you're going to increase the wheelbase as well by sort of 50 mil or so, was it? Or?
Correct. So we have slightly bigger wheels. The original has 70-inch in the front. We have 19, but in the back 20. And due to this fact, we already moved the wheel a little bit forward, the whole axle, but also would like to have a front mid-engine concept behind the front axle, behind the steering actually.
Yeah. This looks like original body here, yeah?
That's the original. Nothing has changed so far here.
Yeah. But you're going to do something with the body, I'm guessing, because these don't look like they're going to do very
look
much.
at this. That's kind of a different time when they developed this car, and we're going to stiffen this up and reinforce it. The whole chassis actually, because we have a lot more torque, we have a lot more performance, the suspension is more stiff, and that's why we need to really stiffen up the chassis.
So you're going to put more strengthening into it? Correct. Roll cage in as well? Or just hidden?
We try to hide it. At some point you're going to see it, but in general we don't want really to have an exposed roll cage. At the end it will also follow up all to the front and stiffen the front as well. So yeah, there's a big safety concept in place.
But before we go any further, a note on the original Evo II. Merc had gradually upgraded the 190e to make it eligible for DTM racing. In 1989 it launched the Evo I, but it wasn't enough to usurp the dominant BMW M3. The Evo II came along the following year and got beaten, this time by Audi. Merc finally won the championship in 1992. The homologation road car became a sleeper, deeply cool but largely unheralded. But prices have crept up. Now you'll pay around 350 grand for a four-door saloon that, let's not forget, is still powered by a humble four-cylinder engine. HWA's Rethink will cost double that.
The V6, you sort of talking about weight distribution and things, because it's a Mercedes-sourced V6, I guess.
Correct, yeah.
But you've got, I'm guessing that comes with a lot of unnecessary bits and pieces, doesn't it, that you don't need?
We really would like to keep it as compact in the front, so we decided to remove all the auxiliaries. Everything is now in the gearbox in the back.
Because it's a rear transaxle gearbox,
That's correct,
isn't it?
yeah.
Manual gearbox as well.
6-speed manual gearbox, and it's going to be operated with an H pattern.
Yeah, we've got some engines over there, haven't we? Can we go and have a look at some engines?
Sure.
Now, HWA wasn't keen on revealing exactly what engine the Evo will use, but to us it sounds a lot like the 24-valve M276. But although the internals will be left alone, the rest of it is being completely overhauled.
So this is the engine as it arrives from Mercedes, but it actually looks too big to fit in the engine bay. Is that the case?
That's the case. We're gonna remove everything and get it to a stage like this one here.
Yeah. It's a small engine when it's like that,
isn't it? It's actually 3.5 cylinder long, and it has a 60-degree angle of the cylinder head. So that's why it's kind of narrow. And then we can install it. But we do major changes. We have a dry sump, which we install to this, and we're trying to get rid of all the auxiliaries, like the compressor, the alternator, even steering pump, and for sure we're gonna change the intercooler. So yeah, it's gonna be...
Because you want a more efficient, responsive engine, I guess.
Correct, more efficient, more powerful.
Yeah.
So that's why we're gonna also modify the turbo system.
Yeah, so it's a twin turbo engine, isn't it?
Correct, it's twin turbos. And
on the outside of the cylinder banks on this?
Yeah, it's on the outside. It's not a hot V, it's outside, and these ones are mass production systems, and we're gonna modify them to be more efficient.
Yeah. Sound good?
It sounds awesome, and I think we can start up an engine later on.
Oh, really? How much power are we talking?
Yeah, we are talking about 450 horsepower,
okay.
But this is more or less the conservative information we got from engine department so far. So I'm pretty optimistic.
And I know how you like to be conservative on these things. You don't want to boast too much about what it might eventually deliver.
Eventually there will be more power.
Oh, yeah. Excellent, we like that.
And one thing I have to mention as well is that the ECU is something we're gonna do our own. We have a new program and we really run the whole engine on our own.
On your own ECU?
Correct.
Right, so it's quite an in-depth job, because the programming for all of that must be enormous.
That's a long way, and it's going to be hard work, but this is what we want to do.
Yeah. And so 450 horsepower or more is going to be pushing along how much weight?
1350, 1360, something around this. And that's actually the original weight of the Evo II. And this is what we want to achieve. Although we bring in a lot of more components and heavier components, and we are stiffening up the chassis dramatically.
But the carbon body will get you a bit of a...
That will reduce a lot, but yeah,
Yeah.
overall.
Because was it steel-bodied originally, the Evo
It is a
II?
steel body, correct.
Yeah. So carbon-bodied, and we've got some bits over there we can have a look at, haven't
Yes.
we? Right.
Besides 450 horsepower, the V6 will develop 405 pounds-foot of torque, all sent to the rear wheels through that manual gearbox. The dry sump means the centre of gravity will be a mere 400mm off the deck. This Evo is still a work in progress and features a largely original interior that will be ditched in favour of digital instruments, Recaro seats and all new switchgear. But the bodywork, just look at the perfection of that stance, the baleful headlights, how downright sinister it is.
So what looks like this is a mould for the grille, isn't it?
Correct. That's a prototype mold actually. It's machined out of foam. We made it in-house here. And also the part itself, which is then the carbon piece.
So you've got a carbon grille, where I'm guessing the original was probably a steel grille or something.
Correct.
And a
It's
nice
a steel
heavy chrome
grill.
piece.
Yeah.
But this, it doesn't weigh anything, does it? There's just nothing to it.
It's very lightweight, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess on the old one's quite heavy.
Compared, yeah.
And is it an exact replica of the old one?
No, it's scaled. So since the car actually is kind of scaled everywhere, we also scaled the grille and the headlights to fit them to the
So
wide
so the new car is actually a different size, a slightly different size, and you've scaled the headlights and the grille to make sure.
It's now a little bit wider, so you cannot really put this one on the old car.
Oh, wow. I love looking at this. This is just, there's so many bits and details on it, because it's a great looking thing anyway. But the aero, I was always amazed in period. That never looked like that aero should work. Did it actually, was it effective?
It was effective. So what we just recently did, we went in the wind tunnel with the original Evo and just measured the original numbers out of the car, because it's also not something you have available. And beside this, we are doing a lot of CFD. So we are actually simulating the aero around this new body shell.
Yeah.
And we do a proper development here, actually.
Yeah. So have you got genuine downforce working on the new car as well?
We're gonna have that downforce.
Yeah.
In the rear and in the back. And now we have to balance, because you don't want to have fancy behavior when you're really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
The topic around this homologation car was you really had to use what you have, and they had to adapt. And that's why you really see also the wheel arches are add-ons. And in our case, now it's everything out of one piece.
Because you're not homologating this for racing or anything, although you're going to be using like DTM spec suspension.
No,
in
it's going to be a complete new car, therefore.
Yeah. So earlier you said we were right to start this up. Is that right?
Let's do it.
Fantastic, because I know it looks like a show car, like a mule, but it's not. It's got a proper engine in it. We've also got different wheels this side to the other side.
Correct. So we are currently developing two kind of wheels. So we have the original 6-spoke design, which we modified, and the sizes are bigger, but we also have this aero design, which is a bit more the race version out of that time.
But that looks like quite a heavy wheel. Is it actually reasonably light?
It is reasonably light, so there is a lot of pockets in between from the other side, so you don't see it now.
Fantastic. Right, anyway, back to business. Have you got the key?
I've got a key for you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed.
Saloons are just cool, aren't they?